chord. There we go. Okay, mid-grain. There we go.
Okay, so we are live. Yes, yes.
Yes,
Okay. Hello, Syl. Hello, Green.
hello, Beena. Hello, Beena. Good morning, Beena.
Good morning. Good morning. A very gentle, a very kind of mellowish hello. Is everything okay?
Oh yes, oh yes, I'm just making space for you. Oh yeah, I'm just happy and
Thank you so
hello.
much. Thank you so much. Today, also a happy eclipse because right now we are having
Yeah,
a
it's
solar eclipse,
starting
which
right
is going
now.
to,
Actually, I don't
exactly,
see
and it
anything
is going to,
outside.
yes, if you are on that particular place in US and Mexico and some place of Venezuela and Canada also, you're going to
Southwest,
witness that
southwest.
mm, complete darkness also, like really a night and the day. Daytime. This is the uh, magic of the nature. Yes. In the older time, people used to have a lot of mysteries and woo-woo stuff involved attached to this eclipse, and still many people have this thing, and but astrologically, every eclipse is different, and some people who are into astrology, and even if you are not, the solar eclipse in abstract conception, it's a it's a portal for opportunities. Why I say so? Because like sun and moon, they are energies, and the light, they bring light to our world. When they are in a different mood, it affects our thought process. And this is how we can have more opportunities by being more creative. By sometimes we get overwhelmed, people get overwhelmed and get really excited. But mostly it is because that, yeah, you can be more creative and you can find out solution and resolution of things which were kind of stuck before. This is the
Yeah,
time of the year also to just try to be grounded, try to give more space, as Syl was practicing already, give more space to others, and I'm going to practice more, of course, also here, that to give more space to others. Giving a space is something that we can see in the universe right now, in the sky. The sun,
right.
moon, and earth, they all are trying to adjust, but they are in the same alignment. So of course you can see that how they are going to give a space to each other. This is the real magic of Nobelia-Living also. So we can see that right now in the practice that they will try to give each other some space. And again, it's also about a lesson for me is to adapt to change. It's a continuation of what we were yesterday
Yeah,
discussing. That to be appropriate and to be more open towards changes. This daytime in the night is going to give us a new understanding of how we can, when we can learn and adapt even in the darkest time of the year or life. So as people call it dark, but this is how we live. Everything, this shall also pass, and then we will go back to our normal life and routine. And this is the magic of learning and growing also. You can take anything and everything into your awareness and get value out of it. So this is something I was busy with also, trying to do things with yes, impeccability. I was trying to practice that. Okay, a bit mallowish feeling as I observed today. So yeah, from Syl. Ah, yes. Okay, this is something we are going to just be more receptive towards the abundance universe is going to offer. This is a very important time for setting intents. This is a important time for uh, making a space for new intention to materialize, new intents to materialize, and allow moreness to come and flourish in our life. So I'm
Wow.
setting my intent that I want.
Exactly. That's what we want. That intent for
Yes,
moreness. Yes, yes,
yes.
yes, yes. Marvelous,
Flourish in
marvelous.
our life.
Most beautiful, Beena, most
So
beautiful. I love that. That's a good introduction. And we're going to go straight into, Norma's here. Hello. We're going to go straight into continuing where we were yesterday. Come on.
Syl, I'm hearing myself back, or maybe it's your
Yeah, just
thing.
when you hear it, just ignore it. It just, whenever that happens, is because I'm shifting to zoom in on this thing so I can see the comments on the side. But sometimes when I click to turn off the sound, because whenever you do that, and sometimes I have to refresh the page, then the sound comes on again. So whenever I do that, I don't always get to turn the sound off quickly enough. So that's why you
Okay.
hear it. Yeah, yeah. So just ignore it. I'll turn it off as soon as I can because I hear it too. So hello,
Oh,
Norma. Hello, Norma. Guess who? It's magical Norma. That's who. Magical, marvelous Norma. Wonderful. All right, brilliant. Let's pull up yesterday and story where we were, at least not story, the chapter, and let's continue. Right. We'll do a little bit of recap. I'll screen share in a moment.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. And this was the question that Biella was asked, can I make sense of my life? So
Yes.
Biella
And,
says,
and and you have
it's
to
all
read
about
Syl today because
why?
you have to read. I can't read today, so
Well, why can't you
yes.
read? I'm just kidding.
I have
I'll read, I
okay,
don't
so
mind.
this,
I'm just kidding.
yeah, I'm sorry
Okay.
for that, but
I
yes,
know
I
it's
love to,
oh,
of
it's all right.
course, it gives me opportunity
Yeah.
to practice
Oh,
my
no
reading,
problem.
but
I'll read you. All right, I'll read. All right. So Biella says this development and enhancement of awareness. That's really, in a nutshell, that's how we make sense of life. When you understand that's what it's all about, there you go. That's the grand purpose of it all. But then she goes a little further, as Biella is so skilled at doing, and the joy of of hearing her. She could just leave it there, but she brings in attunement. And now she's talking about strategic flexibility, that we have to relearn, perspective shift. And we shared all that yesterday. And this is where we were yesterday, right? Solitary responsibility. So I'm going to read this. I think we read the first paragraph here. But this is to continue because she's now already set up, right? How can I make sense? Understand the grand purpose of life, which is the enhancement and development of awareness. She adds to that by saying that the universe assists us in this, in aiding us in the development and enhancement of awareness. So the whole life, the universe, and everything is geared towards this purpose, right? And that's it. And enhance, develop your awareness. If you enhance, develop your awareness, obviously, the more aware you become, you start to understand things like goodness, and you understand things like love and discernment and sensibility and understanding and integrity and ethics, etc., right? And the more aware we become, the easier it is to live, and we live more in attunement with everything. So life is easier, not just easier, but more wonderful, more magical, more brilliant, more awesome, right? So then it truly makes sense in the capital M. But so now she shared this grand purpose already, but then she talked about the strategic flexibility. You don't develop flexibility, you can't attune to things. Yes, you can't adapt, you can't shift, you can't change. Life is change, relearning. It's constant relearning, not just we learn stuff that when we were kids and it turned out to be stupid, and then we learn something new. And then that turns out to be stupid. We learn something new. It's an ongoing process, right? I got to keep at it, got to keep at it. Strategic flexibility. And now we come to this point of solitary responsibility. And this is very important. We alone are the ones that are responsible for our decisions. And I think this is where I shared that point about knowing that life can be difficult and unfair and problematic and bad and difficult, we still choose to continue living, knowing that stuff might happen. So don't complain. You chose to continue living. This is the solitary responsibility that Biella is referencing here. And it's a very big deal. It's a very, very big deal, right, Beena? When we take that responsibility. I mean, it may sound such a problem, such a pressure on us, but it's not. It's a thrill. It's not it's not onerous. It's delightful.
Yes.
Norma
Hello,
says,
Norma.
yes. Oh, good. Okay. Hello, Norma. I just love it when you're here, Norma. It's a great choice. All right, solitary responsibility. At some point, we have to, says, this is Biella saying, not me, at some point, says Biella, we have to realize, we have to take full responsibility for our own lives. Wow, double have to. At some point, we have to realize we have to take full responsibility for our lives. And I actually want to make that a capital L life, right? Because this is your soul, your spirit, everything that we're talking about. In that assumption of responsibility, we also have to accept that ultimately, we alone are final authority of what is best for ourselves. Yes, the universe is set up to provide the maximum amount of aid by way of hints, suggestions, clues, and similar. But we, in the end, have to make the final decision. I think I want to add in that quote here. Okay, no problem. All right, very cool. I want to add in that quote about the final arbiter of truth. Yes? Beena? Oh, yeah, Beena said she can't respond. All right, no worries. Okay. I'm going to add it in here anyway. Yes. This is a quote from Rules of Sentience, and it's right in the beginning there. Let me just pull it up so I can copy it. Yeah. Let's see. Final arbiter of truth. Okay. The quote says, the individual and the individual alone is the final arbiter of truth. Here it is. Okay. And just allow me to copy it real quick. Very, very powerful, very powerful point. All right, so let's put that in there. What happened to my formatting? There we go. Arial 12 point. Okay, there we go. I don't want it bold either. Why is this in bold? Oh, it's in New Times Roman. New Times Roman. Anyway, this is it's a very key point here. Very huge point. And when we think about this, the individual and the individual alone is the final arbiter of truth. You say, yeah, but how do I know it's truth? Well, you don't. That's the whole point of it. You don't know anything is truth. The things that we do believe are truth, we just accept that when others tell us it's so. Until you figure it out and work it out for yourself, you'll never know. Yeah. So you have to do that for yourself. At some point, you have to figure it out. And you have to, and if you can't, then you just have to know that you don't know. Yes. And treat it as such. Take it under advisement. I don't know for sure if what I am accepting from others as the truth, I don't know it's the truth. I'm just accepting that it's the truth. Yes. And when you kind of think in that way, then the things that you accept as truth don't become these absolute locked in stone things. You're open to change. And then as you grow, as you learn, as you become aware, okay, I get it now. I understand now, right? But very important to have that flexibility. And that was the previous subsection, right? Strategic flexibility. This is very important. All right. So I'm going to read this again. Solitary responsibility, the individual alone is the final arbiter of truth. You decide whether you believe others or not about what is fact. See? You decide whether you choose to believe them. Because, I grew up in a very conservative, the first town I lived in, right? In the middle of nowhere, extremely conservative, a few steps away from being Amish. And obviously the church is predominant, every single thing there, right? And I saw, though, that how those people absolutely accepted what was, religion, accepted it as truth. However, I was extremely fortunate in my life, and I understood a few things, and that they're really helpful. And one of them was I knew how to be quiet as a child. Yeah, and it was be seen and not heard. Well, they didn't hear or see me. And kids then, if you didn't say or do anything, you became invisible. It's the most incredible thing. And my father was still with us at that time, and sometimes I'd go with him. He's a doctor, and I'd go with him on house calls. Yes, doctors still made house calls. He made lots of house calls. Sometimes we'd drive for a couple of hours out to some farm in the middle of nowhere. This was a very profound experience. The doctor is the most important person in those lives. Second only to God is the doctor. Yeah, I'm serious. They have tremendous power. They're more important than the minister. Doesn't matter who else, because this is a very remote community, and as such, they literally have the power of life and death. Yes. Yeah. All right, Norma, no problem. No problem. No, always, always. Everything is always as appropriate. Always as appropriate. So don't worry. Right. So now I was talking about saying, so the doctor has a tremendous amount of power. My father was the only doctor in that whole big district, not just of the town we were in, but all the surrounding districts. So large area. And so when he came to these people's houses, the most incredible thing happened. It just kind of makes my skin tingle a little bit here. It's quite profound, the reverence. Those people would be open because they knew that you can have your secrets. Not that they were dishonest people. These were people that were honest to an absolute fault. But some things are private. But to the doctor, no, there's nothing private to the doctor. If you hide private things, well, I don't want to show you that rash in my groin or whatever it is, right? Something that's like you or awkward, uncomfortable. Well, you could die as a result of not sharing that with a doctor. So you have to be honest with your doctor. If you're not, you're going to be in trouble, right? So with a doctor, all pretense fails. There's no pretension, no putting on your best face, nothing. And the doctor too, and when you can visit those people, you'll be in their living room. Yes, but when you got, sick grandma in the back, the doctor gets to see the back rooms. They get to see the naked truth about your house. So there's no secrets from the doctor. Now, of course, while my father's in the room at the back, dealing with whoever the patient was, I'm hanging around. And typically, if they're calling the doctor to come and drive an hour or two out to your farm in the middle of nowhere, things are serious, right? Which means typically there were lots of other people there. While they're waiting for the doctor, they sit and chat. And of course, me being invisible, I would hear them. And of course, at times like this, in a religious community, that's what they're talking about, religion. So what I got to hear is, no matter how devout, all of them were incredibly as devout as you could possibly make it, right? So I shouldn't say no matter how devout. They were all as devout as you could possibly be. However, there were still differences in how they believed. Yes. And this came out in their conversation. Now, what was absolutely fascinating to me is that I heard them say things and it was their truth that they shared. And they didn't realize that the others thought slightly differently. Because when they shared these, it was just sort of taken for granted that the others would agree. And when you hear somebody like that, the person receiving, they would kind of just nod. And even though they don't quite get it to understand, they just assume it's truth and it's religion and it's supposed to be. And they never really query, because that was the 11th commandment, thou shalt not question. So they, even though there were differences, they never heard them. But I also heard something else. I heard people have doubts. Privately, they would have, sometimes it's just like two people chatting, yes, and they're like really questioning their faith, and they have doubts, and they say, yes, but but the minister says this, and they end up setting aside their doubts, overriding their doubts because of should, yes, and it made them essentially, or not essentially, it did them inadvertent hypocrites. They didn't mean, but that's what they ended up being. Because the things that they were told they should do went against their inner deep conscience. They didn't understand way-of-impeccability, didn't have that, didn't have those tools. So they did what they were told, and what they were told sometimes was complete nonsense. Yes, and it was contradictory, and it went against, because the church was involved with politics and all of this. So these poor people really suffered under this, right? Yeah, very suffered. And this is where I came to understand the individual, and the individual alone is the final arbiter of truth. Because I saw how not only were their truths different in these ridiculously devout people, right? And profoundly devout people. I respected them for that. They're salt of the earth, fantastically good people, but also tragic and sad in this, that they just believed. Very sad thing, yes. And that belief made things very difficult for them. And because they were so completely caught up in their believing that they had no room for anything else beside that. And this it's inappropriate application of goodness. Again, where this profound concept, where I learned it, was from those people. Yeah. But I saw, even though, right, you would think that they grew up in a kind of being told, this is what you must believe, this is the truth, not even believe, this is the truth. For them, belief was fact. Their whole religion is complete and absolute fact. It was not a belief. Yes, they treated it as a fact. But I saw, even in those very devout, how they came to choose, because they did privately have doubts. And furthermore, some chose to believe things in one way and others in another way. So there was difference. And they knew of the difference also, the individual way to approach faith. So in this, they chose how exactly they are going to adopt the beliefs. They would be selective. Some things they didn't believe, some they did. Yes, it might have been very minor. I mean, we may be talking about 1% or 0.1, very tiny little differences, but it doesn't matter. The fact that if you are making a choice in some way or another, then you are the one who's choosing the truth. Yeah? And of course, not everyone in those communities bought into this. Some refused and left, and it was always the minister's son. We called him dominees in Afrikaans. Right? The minister's son, he was the troublemaker. Typically, it was a kind of a cliche where the minister's son or daughter would be anti-religion or whatever, it caused trouble. It's very funny. So there were some who did not buy into it, yes? And of course, there were other religions present and all that. So again, when you're aware of this, you are choosing that this is your faith, this is your belief. Now, internally, to them, they think they're choosing, but the reality is they actually are. They didn't see it from the outside. Me, in my invisibility, I saw and heard a lot of incredible things, and I got to hear the souls, the deep hearts of those people. I've written much about it. It's very profound. I saw it many times. Yes, and it's an incredible thing to witness and experience. And just respect. And some of them were poor people too. I stayed with a friend of mine, invited me to come over when I was in the boarding school. And he said to me, like really seriously and earnestly, I had stay over on the weekend, right? So I'm in the room there. He said, oh, well, just when you read your Bible, he just assumed that I was going to took it for granted. Like, this is what you do before you go to sleep, you read some of the Bible. He said, please don't read too long, and I didn't get it at first. He said, oh, to save the candle. At least I didn't laugh, because he was so serious. But, I mean, if you're taking another extra half an hour's worth of candle, that's some serious poverty, yes? It stuck with me. You got to save that little bit of candle. It's quite astonishing. Anyway, there's a final arbiter of truth. There's people, profound, deeply awesome, magical people, but also sad and tragic because they got stuck in not being aware that they and they alone are the final arbiters of truth. So they ended up believing stuff. As a society, they did sort of come to understand this, and they did break free from that later on in the general. But it's a very long story. It's very cool. They did come to realize that, no, we can't just believe everything that's being pushed at us, because all the racism was being pushed through the church, and they rejected it. Those wonderful people, they rejected it. Very wonderful. At their own profound cost, by the way. Not out of enlightened self-interest, no, out of conscience, out of integrity. Very point. So impeccability won out in the end. All right. So Biella says, at some point, we have to realize we have to take full responsibility for our lives. In that assumption of responsibility, we also have to accept that ultimately we alone are the final authority of what is best for ourselves. Yes, the universe is set up to provide the maximum amount of aid by way of hints, suggestions, clues, and similar. But we, in the end, have to make the final decision. I need to emphasize aid, because it's very important to understand that you can't get, if you get help directly, then you end up not developing the skills to be responsible. Yeah, I just look at kids. They grow up with their parents do everything for them. Very irresponsible. They have no sense of self-assertion, self-identity. They lack no confidence. They're insecure all the time because they never develop any sort of self-reliance and self-trust, because it was always done for them. The universe will never do that to you. The universe is way more sensible. Way more sensible. And also, that culture that I grew up in, they did come to understand as a culture, it's a fantastic thing, that they have to take full responsibility for their lives. They cannot take it from outside, from the church, in other words. Not an easy thing, not an easy thing to do when you've really grown up in that conditioning of it. Very difficult. And didn't make them any less religious necessarily. It just made them a little bit more discerning about, officialness. Yeah, it's wonderful. The wonder of it all is, if we make any decision impeccably, then it's impossible to make a mistake. I need a drum roll and a cymbal and I don't know, something just to indicate the profoundness of this. The wonder of it all is, if we make any decision impeccably, then it's impossible to make a mistake in inverted commas. Yeah, no matter what we do, if done impeccably, which is using our energy in the best possible way and making sure our motivations are true, which really means our motivation is enhancement of our awareness. Then no matter what we decide, the world and the universe will conspire to make that decision work out for the best. It's stupendous how this works. If ever there was a profound paragraph, it's this one. Yes, I'm thinking how I can indicate this. I'm always tempted to put like stars on either end of it, like this. But it's confusing if you don't know. Yes, Beena? Can you say, at least comment? Beena might be somewhere else visiting and she can only hear, she can't speak and comment because she's in company and she's listening to me on a headset or something. I don't know. So I hope so. All right. But anyway, I like to hear. Yeah, because she said, I'm listening but can't respond immediately. That's all good. That's all good, Beena. That's all good. This is such an incredible paragraph. It's just, it's a big deal. Really, really big deal. We have to trust. We have to trust ourselves and the mechanism of it all. The mechanism that is the universe. A mechanism geared to aiding us in the enhancement of our awareness. In aiding us. I have to emphasize that every time pretty much, because we so are conditioned to assume that authority, help, moreness, parents, teachers, whatever, will help us, which for the most part, when you get help, somebody's doing the thing for you and you don't really learn to do it for yourself. But when you get aid, you're the one who's doing it, right? Like a doctor who's being assisted or aided by the nurse or another doctor. They're in charge of or like a surgeon, they're in charge of the surgery. They're doing the cuts. The other one is just doing a little extra here and there, right? But when they get help, then it's the two of them together, and it's a whole different operation between assisting and aiding. Yes. So helping and aiding and assisting. It's very important to understand this difference. It's very, very, very important. We have to be aided. We have to be aided. I have to be aided. Will you take care of that, please, Beena? All right. We have to do the enhancing ourselves. but everything else is geared to assisting us. Absolutely. I mean, this is just, when we understand this, really, really understand this, you have to kind of be a bit open now, have that strategic flexibility, not a bit open, a lot open, and actually start looking around you and look what happens in your life. What you think is stress and bother and irritation, no, these are assistants for you. You just have to expand your mind to understand assisting in what. All that irritation is assisting you to learn patience, tolerance, yes, discipline, etc. Right? So this is it. It's a fantastic system. Fantastic system. The key is at some point to accept the truth that we are in fact saying. I am going to be the one that says what is right for me. I am going to be saying, I am right when it comes to me, even if the entire world is wrong. Wow, 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 wow. This is, when said with integrity, yeah. This is an essential perspective to develop when we're able to say it with complete integrity. Yeah, that's a very big deal, a very, very big deal. Because there are times, like in that community that I was in, yes, those poor people, I mean, really, I feel for them. They had a hard time because they weren't able to say, sorry, whole world, I've thought this through. I've been impeccable. I've done everything I can, but you are just simply flat out wrong here. Yeah. And they weren't able to do that. They weren't able to assert their individual sense. They weren't able to do that. So they were forced to compromise and become inadvertent hypocrites, and it made their lives very miserable and very sad. Yes, because the sad part of it is just profoundly sad that their entire intent, their entire being revolved around being good, 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 good. And their goodness got corrupted, right? Those that were in charge said to them, to be good, you must do this and this and this and this. And basically started pushing things onto them that weren't actually good. But in their goodness, I must do this, I must obey, I must, because that was, I grew up in an obedience culture. I remember somebody having a big hard time with me, say, oh, you grew up in South Africa, you know, you grew up in a racist culture. No, I grew up in an obedience culture, not a racist culture, which is ably demonstrated by the country later. He didn't get it. He couldn't get it. He just was too fixed to assume, you know. People who were racist were a small minority who leveraged the church to get to their ends. Yes, very sad story. Very, very sad story. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very profound. Good people can be abused. Yes, it is. It's you know, goodness. The abuse of goodness is why I keep pushing awareness, discernment, and understanding, leading to action. Yeah, if you don't develop those, your goodness can be used against you, like those people. They didn't have the awareness or the discernment or the understanding, and therefore they couldn't take action against the abuse. They knew it was there, but they didn't have enough to really fully understand to be able to act on it. It took them a long time to grow up, really. Yeah, it's very powerful stuff. Very, very powerful stuff. Uh, this perspective of saying, I am the one to decide what is right for me. This is an essential perspective to develop when we're able to say it with complete integrity, to have this perspective and stance in full humility. Absolutely key. Capital H, humility. The humility which incorporates the thorough awareness of just exactly how little we know, how minuscule our understanding in comparison to the universe, and at the same time to insist on what is right for us, even if it's at odds with the wisdom, in inverted commas, of the world. There's so much in the world. The entire paradigm, superiority paradigm, is complete rubbish. the wisdom of the world. You must be superior. You must be dominant. You must be famous. You must be wealthy. You must. You must have approval of others. What a horrible thing to make you completely dependent on other people is to always be wanting their approval and attention. It's idiocy. It's narcissism logic, right? It's feudal culture. It's just completely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. And this is what gets pushed on us, right? And until you develop the skill to say, no, sometimes the world is completely wrong. Not always, but sometimes. In other words, discernment, right? Discernment is that to say, well, not always, but sometimes, yeah? To be able to pick out when it's exception rather than rule, or when it's rule rather than exception. It's a very important skill, discernment, and critical skills. And if you look at just the world today, with all the misinformation and trolls and propaganda and all this, and people get lost because they don't have discernment. They end up just believing stuff because it's convenient, or because it grabs their fancy, or because they trust inappropriately. No discernment. Right? Discernment says don't trust inappropriately. But we have to trust. This is capital T trust, right? Yeah. We have to trust ourselves in the mechanism. This is capital T trust. Capital T trust founded on impeccability. All right. It's not said in here. Yeah. Yeah. We have to trust based on impeccability. I take it for granted when I say capital T trust. I'm so used to that, that being integral to capital T trust. But, the readers aren't necessarily get that. Right. So we have to insist on what is right for us, even if it's at odds with the wisdom of the world. For the wisdom of the world is aimed at the aggregate, and no one at all is ever an aggregate. It never fits. And that's why turning convention upside down is such an illuminating exercise. Yeah. See 50 ways to be smarter using opposite. Yeah. For the wisdom of the world is aimed at, right? Never mind that. Yeah. There we go. So not to mention that societal wisdom is all about the superiority paradigm. Yeah. A completely flawed system. Yeah. Okay. Enabling appropriateness. The point of enhancing awareness is so that we are better able to be appropriate. I was asked this by Cornelius. He said, dang it, so you always going on about awareness and enhancing and developing awareness, but so what if I'm unaware? What difference does it make? Why do I have to make this effort? I said, well, so that we are better able to be appropriate. That's all I said. Cornelius he's deep. He thinks he got it. He said, oh, okay, I get it now. And then, yeah, that was it. It's just that one conversation, just that. And that was the end of that. Okay, I got you now. And off we went. Now it's into awareness. He saw the value. He saw the value, right? Beena, any comments? Can you comment? I hear sounds. If not, you respond always.
Yes, I'm here.
Joy. That's why we do this.
That
interaction.
That is really amazing.
Oh, good.
That someone can say that. Okay, what's the difference if I'm unaware? Yeah. Amazing. Like really surprising for me. It's not like that. Okay, I'm curious about everything. And sorry, I can't hear you, sir. Sorry.
When you say that is amazing, what is that? You talking about Cornelius or the
yes
or Biella?
Yes. No, Cornelius.
Cornelius.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's very amazing. That's why I was so enjoyed always interacting with you. I have a separate, it's about, I think it's 800,000 words of a year-long conversation with camellias.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Wow.
I'll publish, oh yeah, one long conversation from morning till evening. That's
Wow.
what we did, you know. I mean, yeah, like 8-10 hours a day of conversation, and I'll publish it at and you see a flow and a rhythm. Like we'd have this,
Yes.
we'd get very intense, and then you know, and there'd be the jokes and laughter and kind of, you know, which is not to break the seriousness, but it's to make space for things to absorb, things to filter in, things to be integrated and used. Yeah, so it's very cool. Yeah, I call it the Book of Mark because my friend's name is Mark. So the Book of Mark, I like that. Just the whole idea, right? Not quite what you might expect, but you know, or maybe the Chronicles of Mark or something like that. You know, I like the Book of Mark. Anyway, the point of enhancing awareness is so that we are better able to be appropriate. Yeah, I keep accidentally right clicking here. My right click has become a bit overly sensitive. Till right click till things aren't that serious. The better we become at being appropriate, the better we are able to adapt, to shift, to flow, to maximize, to enjoy, to revel and relish in the awesomeness of life. Yes, many who listen to what I share and oh, it's like, man, it's so serious. That's just an assumption. It's just an assumption. Biella, and relish. If you know me a little bit, you know I relish in the awesomeness of life. Do you know me a little bit, maybe more than a little bit? I'd say you know me a lot. Yes. Would you say I relish in the awesomeness of life? Egotistical opinion that I do this. Beena?
You were breaking. You were breaking, Syl.
Yeah, it's
So it
Beena.
was.
She's
It was
really thinking
stopping.
about my question. Do I? Do I revel and relish in the awesomeness of life? Oh,
Yes.
oh. I'm
Yes.
asking a
If I'm
question
if I'm
here
hearing it
of
right.
you
If
personally.
I'm hearing it right. Yes. Yes.
Yes, what? Say, repeat it, then we know. Do a repeat back. Yes, you. Dot, dot, dot.
Yes, you do relish. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. See, then we know we're on the same page, right? When you have, that's
Yes.
where
Yes.
repeat backs are very valuable when you have communications that are less than ideal. Very helpful. Thank you. I really make it's important to me, and I love it. It's when you understand and you're really connected to the awesomeness. How can you not revel in religiousness? It's impossible. That's awareness
Okay.
automatically leads you to that. When you see the awesomeness, how do you not revel in religion and enjoy it? It's not possible, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, what, Beena?
I was just
It's a
keen to
huge
share
deal.
something that when
Please.
two people having okay, it can be a friendship, like we have amazing friendship. We have more than besties actually, like really, because
Oh,
it is not just like, okay, oh, I we have same likes and dislikes. No, we don't. In like in totality, no. But yes, on an abstract level, we
we
do.
are so
Exactly.
profoundly different as people. Yeah.
Yes, yes, we do. Yeah.
In the surface, on the surface.
Yes. But when it comes to the
But underneath,
fundamentals of
though,
yes, fundamentals of life, your rules for life, your way of being, we are absolutely similar, I can say, in many ways.
especially what motivates us, Beena. Many
Exactly.
people have similar core characteristics, but they're not necessarily motivated. I mean, I know very different people who have the same core characteristics: honesty, integrity, etc. But some are interested in sports, some are interested in politics, whatever. Right? That's That's where the real connectivity comes, in that which deeply motivates us. That's what's important and matters to us. We can have the same core characteristics, but not be motivated in the same way in the application of those core characteristics. Yes? So our motivations, our intents align.
Also,
very profound.
I don't
very big deal.
to admit this. Yes, I don't want to admit this happily, but I have to. That I am gradually I'm acquiring that patience, which I don't like. Syl has that tremendous, ridiculous, all sort of things. Patience, and this is the key. Two things for any relation. For any relation, I have my experience, my observation, my understanding. Yes, any in any relationship.
Yeah.
First thing is
patience. You have to add the ship, because otherwise you say any relation, that means your family people, right? Those are your relations.
Okay. Any relationship. Sorry. Yes.
Sorry.
Or even yes, in relations also.
Yeah, it applies both ways with your relation. Yeah.
Yes. Core factors for me. First is respect, and second is patience.
Due respect and patience.
Exactly.
Yes. Correct. It's a very big deal. Very big deal. Yeah.
If they don't love me, this is not a problem for me. Of course, we can be amazing friends. Even if they don't love me, I don't need that. But if the person don't respect me and I don't respect them, then it's a problem. Then nothing is going to work out.
Yeah.
Of course, trust is also it's a big, huge deal. But
you
can survive even without trusting, just by giving due respect and have patience. You can survive without trust.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's not fun.
But you
though.
cannot survive
without
without
very miserable.
respect. Exactly.
Correct.
Of course.
Yeah. You can at the real push, but then you have avoidance, and so all right.
It's a lot of energy.
Technically you can, but it's not fun.
It requires a lot of energy. Yeah,
exactly.
If you don't trust
and it's inconvenient.
You are interacting on regular basis, and if you don't trust,
exactly. It makes that's why I keep saying, people say, oh, it's love that makes the world go round. No, it's not love that makes the world go round. It's trust. Yeah, trust that makes the world go round. Without trust, it's miserable. Everything grinds to a halt. It'll be very difficult. You all have to live isolation, which in this case is the same as respect here, right? Respect and trust, very integral. But again, like Beena says, I can respect somebody for maybe their skills or their abilities, but I might not trust them. Yes. So that's very profound when you understand that difference. You give due respect. Yeah, I give due respect to the leopard or the lion or something. Well, I don't trust you. It's like, man, when you get hungry, you might eat me, but I still respect you. Yeah. So to understand that, it's discernment there being applied. It's discernment. Yes. Very. That's why discernment is such a superpower. It's such a superpower. I want to add something else. This is the joy and the magic and the value, the awesome of way of impeccability. When we undertake this way of impeccability, and not to believe in it, it's nothing to do with belief. When we undertake this way, it's a path. You're traveling on a path. Yes. When we undertake to travel this path of impeccability, it makes respect and trust something that is there. Yes. And others likewise that are traversing this path. Once we come to understand the impeccability, respect and trust is automatically goes along with it. It's fantastic. Fantastic. It's fantastic.
Wow.
Doesn't mean I agree necessarily. I mean, seriously, some of the things that Beena eats and wears and listens to, oh my goodness, seriously. Okay, I'll try to have it up. My acting skills aren't the best. All right, this is hyperbole there. I was being hyperbolic with my hyperbole. I wanted to say that. I said it to somebody the other day, but they didn't quite hear me. And so I thought this was a fun thing to say. I'm being hyperbolic with my hyperbole. That's like, hyperbole squared. So no, I have no problem with the things that Beena eats or listens to or wears. Beena dresses beautifully, actually. So I'm just teasing you a bit and having some fun. But you get the
No,
point, right?
this
Just
can be,
because
but
I
this can be
respect
true, of
and
course.
trust somebody, yeah. How she does
Ma,
eat lentils and likes them, so that's like,
yes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. To me, lentils are like just little, like, I don't know,
Particles of
yeah,
earth.
like kind of earth gummy, like like gummies made out of earth. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, like
So,
soil,
okay,
you know, that's what they taste like
not
to
only
me.
into that.
Not just lentils, but all legumes. All legumes. They literally. I mean, if I take a bit of
Yes.
dirt and eat it, and I eat a legume or a bean or lentils, it tastes the same to me. It's fascinating. It really is fascinating. That
Okay.
how does it taste
Yeah.
that way to you?
Yes. Okay. This is
Incredible.
also okay. Yes, it's a fun thing, but this is what makes life miserable for many people, because oh no, you how you can do this? They argue about these things. Friends, they tease each other. They do like okay, serious tease, not this type of thing. Okay, yes, we are okay completely with this. But some people I have seen that okay, it's a big problem that okay, oh you don't eat this, or you don't like this, and especially when they like something, you have to like it. Like why? I don't. Simply I
I know,
don't.
I know.
But
But see, that's
yes,
mentality
and
of
this is a big
opposites,
problem.
Beena. I'll answer your question.
Exactly.
Answer your question seriously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's if what I like is right. Yes.
Oh
And
yes.
now, if you come and say no, right, that I don't like what you like, well, then if you're right, then that makes me wrong.
Wow.
Come on, they can't
Yes.
accept two rights can coexist. No, if something is different, if there's difference, it's either right and wrong. That's it. They can't be both right or both wrong. Or it's like black white, right? It must be either or. Where are all the colors? Where are all the colors, people? Come on. Come on, come on, come on, right? There's a
Yes.
lot of color in the
And
world. Things aren't just black and white. Yeah.
okay. And not only these type of things, but also some more, like the concepts. When I was not getting these concepts, I was not understanding, and I was not agreeing, and I was vocal about that every single time, like the habit being the worst enemy. I was not
Yeah.
getting it throughout my way of impeccability. When I was doing that, I keep saying, whenever we come back to that,
Interesting.
nope, I don't think so. I don't agree with that. And it doesn't make any difference.
Interesting.
Syl was trying to articulate it in different ways to me. And I was saying that no, habit is not the worst enemy. And still I believe that. Still I have this understanding that habit is
Wonderful.
not the worst enemy.
Wonderful.
Yes, because of course, habit is
Yeah.
something that, okay, it's a very energy efficient thing. It's a program we have developed. A human have this thing. Of course, other species also. By habit, we save a lot of energy. We don't need to always invest our energy in everything. So we do develop habit as a program. We just
Yeah.
incorporate
Yeah.
in our understanding, in our awareness.
Yeah.
But what,
Short-sighted now.
from the perspective still was saying, yes, he was actually absolutely right in his saying that habit is the worst enemy in when it comes to, but it was conditional, and I was not able
Correct.
to communicate it.
Listen.
I was saying that okay, it sounds like it's in a totality. No, he was saying actually it was conditional. Like in some conditions, of course, deliberate living cannot have just randomly acquired habits with. No, you cannot have that. So he was right. I was not wrong, but it was just a miscommunication. And it was a long time
There you
period,
go.
but but but
No
it
big deal.
never ever affect our relationship. No? Okay.
Never. Never.
You don't agree with
Because we
this? Okay,
keep
no?
growing, we keep learning, and we
Yes.
understand that sometimes we don't always get things. And if we persist, we get to see and understand how somebody else understands something. When you can get
Exactly.
to that point, oh, I
Exactly.
cannot tell you the joy involved,
And and
profound
we had
fulfillment
many
and more.
times we had some not so pleasant communication,
Not
conversation,
many.
which was of course
I
not
would say
ideal,
many.
but
Many would be more than 10. I don't think it was more than 10, Beena. Probably not even
yes,
more than
okay,
5.
hardly 10,
Yeah, at
hardly
least
10,
in my
I
memory.
guess, like 7, 8, maybe. Okay, maximum, but okay.
Exactly. So
But
it's a
it was
few. It's a
good.
few. It's a few.
But it
Yeah.
was
Beautiful.
appropriate. It was good. Because if it would not happen, then it would be like either I'm absolutely 100% influenced by him, or he is not being honest with me,
Exactly.
just trying to pamper and say, okay, yes.
Got to be.
If that would
Well,
not happen, that would be the case.
well.
And it
And
was
also
necessary,
getting through a
appropriate for
difficult.
me.
Right.
That
Oh, and
okay,
that's horrible. Right. Right.
yes.
Right. Right.
And we both
Also,
never ever get taken over
the
by ego. Okay, oh yes,
correct.
okay, now he says that, so I'm not going to. If I said something, when okay, like people say that, okay, I'm not going to talk to you again, ever. We do claim sometimes, but we
Just
don't mean that.
communication.
No, we don't mean that. So it was like, okay, I'm not going to come back. Still, never. Okay, I didn't say never, but I said I'm not going to come back. But 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 it was not an ego
I
thing
think
that, oh, I said something, so now I have to just live by my words and I can go back. No, I have to, because I made a mistake. I was not understanding. Okay, he made a mistake. He was not understanding my point. He was very rough. Okay, yes, he was using words which I were like, come on, how a
need to
person
be.
like him
Totally.
can use these type of words? So for me, it was unacceptable. So it was a
But it wasn't a big deal
miscommunication.
to me at the time.
Yes. Or it was
Yeah,
like,
it's
no, what
miscommunication.
is this? And I was like, how dare you? It was like, this is how it was. So in miscommunication, but I do
But
have, okay,
to me,
it's
the
not like
beauty of
that.
this,
Okay, I'm all,
Sabina, I want to add my point here quickly because it's going to get lost. The beauty of it was the gift,
yes,
right? That we learned how to
yes,
overcome it.
please.
Yeah.
Yes,
Go ahead.
please.
Go ahead. That's all I want to say. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you were saying something, please.
I said it already. I said the gift of it was that we learned how to deal with it and overcome it. And that's a very profound, that added so much to our relationship. Those experiences
Oh,
of
yes. Oh, yes.
miscommunication. We learned
Oh,
how
yes.
to understand and changed. We evolved. We enhanced our awareness as a result. Profoundly.
Yes.
Profoundly.
Yes, absolutely. For Syl, it was a new thing that when people having some not so pleasant conversation, or are having, okay, in other words, having an argument about something, that they are not going to be the same negative or off mood in other aspects also. That was a new thing, because for me, if we are having argument about something like right now, so you made a mistake here, and so say, no, it's not a mistake, okay, and then we have an argument. So for me, my whole argument is going to be limited only to this topic. Every other thing with Syl and me, between me and Syl, is going to remain same. Like my mood is not going to be off, like, okay, yes, okay, now we have
You.
to do listening, okay,
That's
yes,
you.
we are doing
It's
listening, okay,
Nobelia-Living
we are
right
doing
there. It's
this.
Nobelia-Living.
I always try to keep things in that context. That okay, yes, we had an argument, but it doesn't make Syl a whole negative person or me as a negative person at all. No, just
Exactly.
one
But
thing.
that's a very profound thing, you know.
Yeah.
And hang on, but
Yes.
I want to also emphasize it's not all that
Yeah.
common in my experience
Yes.
either. I've known
Yes.
people where they disagree with you or they're upset at something you've done and they stop loving you. This is somebody who loved you before that, but now they stop loving you. It's like,
How?
how does that
Why?
work? It's not my
Exactly.
totality. It's one thing. I
Yes.
had this one somebody who dreamed about. I saw them and they were all upset with me. So why are you upset with me? What's wrong? I mean, they were like not just upset with me, but they're stopping loving me and they anti-loving me, right? They actively disliking me. Well, and then I explained what I did. I said, but I didn't do that. No, but it was in my dream. I'm not kidding you. I'm not
Seriously, Syl.
kidding you. They were profoundly upset with me because I did something to them in their dream.
Wow. But that
Yeah,
was
I
their
know. It's
projection
like, wow,
of
okay.
themselves.
But again,
Wow.
this inability to discern between, yes, I know. I agree. I agree. You know, there's more to it, but it's more to it. But still, you know, it's a lack of discernment and insecurity and all sorts of stuff involved. But, you know, to not be able to separate out your point of agreement, not the whole person, you know, there's many things that we
Exactly.
might not. But again, too, again, this idea that it's either agree or disagree, again, mentality of opposites. That doesn't have to be so. It's misunderstanding. We don't understand. Forget agree and disagree. Throw it away. If this, we don't even use those terms from a Nobelia-Living. Why? Because they just lock you into that mindset that must either be. No, understanding. It transcends agree and disagree. So when we understand, then agree and disagree becomes somewhat irrelevant. I might not adopt that or whatever correspond, but I understand. You know, I understand that Beena loves lentils. I understand. What's my agree or
Yes.
disagree got to do with it? Nothing whatsoever. I just understand. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a
Exactly.
non-issue. I don't think it's foolish or stupid or anything, but that's that mentality of opposites. Where I think they're terrible, and if you eat them, then you must be stupid. You see what I mean? It's all must be. It's all that chain of things when you
Yes.
insist on this opposite. Terrible business,
Exactly.
man.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mentality of
For me,
opposites.
so
Right?
many things
So we can
which is
have
the
profound difference, and I celebrate the difference. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
okay.
Go ahead.
Coming back to
I
the
say, I love
serious
it that
point.
you
Okay,
love
yes, the
lentils.
legumes
I
and
love it
lentils are
that you
there.
love lentils. It makes you happy.
No,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
yes,
Brilliant.
but also there are more things in life. The first thing is to learn. Okay, in
Exactly.
any kind of relationship, any kind, any type of relationship. Just one thing: when you love someone, when you actually claim to love someone, just pay attention to what you actually love about them. Because mostly people don't love people, they do love something about them. That's the problem. We assume
Correct.
that we love that
They love
person,
some
we
particular
just love
aspect. They don't
something
love
about them.
them.
Exactly. And they
No,
assume
I
that
love
okay,
all.
oh, I love that person. No,
I
mostly they
love the
don't.
person. Their behavior, their idiosyncrasies are totally irrelevant.
Exactly, that's the difference. So when you love someone or when you like someone, or okay, okay, if you have, of course, we do like our friends. That's why we do make them friends. So that's why. But just pay attention to: do you like something about them or you love them? It's a big difference. We don't pay attention to this. When you love someone, then these things are going to stay. That okay, okay, sir, you made a mistake. You did this to me. Okay, but he did just one thing.
Yeah.
So my mood is going to be upset whenever we are going to come back to this topic. I'm going to be like, yes, you did that. Okay, that was wrong. That was wrong. I'm going to be same as rigid, as grumpy, whatever. But but when we will talk about, just in that next minute, if we talk about something else, I'll be a different person, because he is not that person for me. I don't like something about. This is the difference. We need to pay attention, and we don't do that.
It's a long
And
time
that is,
past, though. You know, I mean, the Venus talking about things that are long ago. You know,
oh
they're
yes,
not
long
part of
ago,
our
long
relationship anymore.
ago. And I'm just saying that was also a learning. That was also a growing part or part of this process. That
Uh,
when you do
big
have
deal
that,
learning.
exactly, we have to go through all these things. Otherwise, you will not know or understand that person at least a bit
Exactly.
more. We cannot claim
Yep.
to completely understand someone, or because okay, they are also learning and growing. You are
Right.
also learning and growing. We are not that the same people anymore which we were
Exactly.
before.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Now
this
look how it
is
all
a good
connects
thing.
to Biella's what Biella's sharing here, right?
Yes.
Right? Because this is
Yes.
what stimulates this. The point of enhancing awareness is so we are better able to be appropriate. Yeah, and that's exactly what Venus talking about. That in our relationship, there were a couple of times where inappropriateness, in retrospect, obviously, and even at the time, we sort of was aware. And then we got more enhance our awareness, and then we are, oh, okay, okay, and we learn and grow. Right? It's very powerful. All right. So, but to be free, says Biella, Not just this, the greater our ability to be appropriate, the greater our freedom. That's what it's all about. But to be free, we need awareness. The more, the better. But not just any old awareness. We need enhanced awareness. The enhancement of awareness leads to greater appropriateness. I mean, my dog is aware, but doesn't have enhanced awareness. Yes, at least not as far as I know. Not that I have it, but the enhancement of awareness leads to greater appropriateness, which enables us, empowers us, and thus leads us to greater and greater freedom, greater ability to enjoy, for joy is an ultimate accomplishment. When we have attained the it is also the ultimate survival strategy. Come on, just miss this now, yeah, causing me to read, right? Let's see, but it goes beyond joy. The ability to be appropriate is also the ultimate survival strategy. It's becoming attuned to the universe. The grand attunement to the greater flow of life allows us to maximize our energy, to always be doing the right thing, right in terms of what is best for us and the world. And I put right in inverted commas, Biella does, right? Because it's right in terms of what us appropriate, not only within the small confines of our individual circumstance, but also within the ultimate context of the universe. And then it's all awesomeness. Everything is in tune. We are appropriate in all circumstances and time frames. Wow, wow, wow. I think I'm going to take this right out of the inverted commas. It's confusing, right, in terms of what is best for us and the world. Yes, because when you're truly in attunement, you can say that. You can say that. When I'm just doing it, when out of attunement, and it's my opinion. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just gonna leave it there. Right? When our rightness comes by attunement, we can be at peace. I have to elaborate more. Yeah.
Yes.
Once we are attuned, once we understand how it all works, once we fully accept that it's all about the enhancement of awareness, we can look back at our lives with this perspective, and then it all falls into place. When we look back at our lives from the perspective of what happened as being the best in terms of providing us the opportunity to enhance our awareness, then the randomness and luck disappears, and all we see is the incredible magic of it all. Everything was for our benefit, and still is. It's such an incredible point. It doesn't matter when we learn what we need to learn, then or now, as long as we learn it. This is all capital L. Yeah, it doesn't matter when we learn. You know, many times, especially with participants and people that have come to me more as clients in a more counseling therapeutic sense, they somewhat lament that they didn't learn their lessons of their childhood, and there's sort of an assumption in their brain that they should have learned it then. It makes no difference. From the universe's point of view, time is a moment. So whether you learn it now or then or in the future, it makes no difference. It's all in the same moment. Yeah, it's important that you learn it. Awareness of enhancement, magical enhancement of awareness. Yes, but the awareness of enhancement is magical, correct? And to do it in that way too. Brilliant. So this doesn't matter when we learn what we need to learn, then or now, as long as we learn it, doesn't matter. Good reasons. It all starts with the realization that everything, every single thing, everything, every single thing in our individual lives is geared towards the development and enhancement of awareness, of our personal awareness. Everything happens for a good reason, not just a reason, and that good reason is the enhancement of our awareness. It may not always be the only reason or nice, but there's always a good reason involved. This is actually our life's mission, our life story, and absolutely everything is focused on us and on helping us in this, aiding us. All we have to do is enjoy the journey, enjoy the magic of the game, is all need to capitalize here. Enjoy the magic of the game. Your life is this profound, magical, awesome game. Relish the mysteries, delight in figuring it all out. Make that bit of effort to learn. Then we are on our way and life becomes living. Wow. Then we are on our way and life becomes living. Right? Have life, but aren't living with a capital L. Many just look around you, right? They just exist. They're not living really. Yes? It's very important. Right? On our way. Living is a magical adventure where everything has meaning, everything has significance, everything is attuned to us. We are the authors of our own story and the author part of ourselves. No, this is our own story, Grammarly. Story, and that is the most awesome possible for us. I like that. All we have to do is perceive it in the appropriate context, yes, which is that everything that happens has a good reason. Everything that happens to us is for the good reason of enhancing our awareness, for enabling us to be more appropriate, for empowering us to maximum freedom. Wow. Very cool, Biella. Once we embrace the magnificence of learning and growth, then life transforms into an adventure specifically designed for us. Wow. Once we embrace the magnificence of learning and growth, then life transforms into an adventure specifically designed for us. We come to realize that the world is a description, and we individually are the ones doing the describing. Biella. Wow, very cool, Biella. Very, very, very wonderfully cool. Wow. I love this. This is a profound chapter, yes? Very cool. Comments, Beena, takeaways?
Yes.
Exactly. You know,
okay.
Time is a perception. It's not a reality. It's a perception.
Exactly.
It's hard for our brains to wrap around this. It's scientifically proven. You know, it's always a mystical concept going way back into the dumbness of time. Yeah, but it's now been scientifically proven that it's all in the moment, the singularity. There is no time, just a perception that we create.
We also see that in different planets, because now humans are able to go there, and they see that their time understanding, no, their time is different. I don't know how to say that, but their time is different. The day and night durations, everything is different. So when time can vary on on different planets, and then okay, on your planet, then how can you just say that okay, time is just a singular thing? It's, I don't know that, okay, it doesn't make sense to me. It has variation, and also that it depends on the awareness also. Again, coming back to the awareness, as human beings are becoming more and more aware, as the conception of time is becoming different to the previous ones. Even, of course, they also had that, but not common. Now we understand it in a, like it's about the value, how much value you are able to extract in just one. If we get out of this idea of into this conditioning of 60 minutes make an hour, or 60 seconds make a minute, if we just say that, sometimes we feel the time is so much more, and sometimes it just runs very fast and quickly. I saw one of these religious scholar who wrote sets of books, and these books were not just a normal size books. They were like 2 feet long in length, and then 1.5 feet
Wow.
wide, and very thick books,
Wow.
like 3 4 inches. And
Wow.
he wrote like 11 books in one set, and he wrote many. And I was asking that how long he lives actually, like, because to write something, and it was not a fictional thing, so he can write whatever he wants to. It was a religious thing, and you know that, okay, how strict the religious uh, conditions are in Islam, because you cannot just quote things any randomly. No, you have to give all the references, and you have to be very, very, very scrupulous about when you are quoting something. So, and then he wrote that much, and I was like, was he not eating or sleeping or doing anything? But the value of time for them was completely different. When people are aware, okay, I'm not saying that, okay,
Wow.
he was in a that particular sense, but when people are
Yeah.
aware and when they are able to extract the value, the time changed completely for them.
Sorry, 1 second, Beena. Come on.
Yes.
Answer your question seriously. Yeah. Because that is. There we go. There we go. I was going back to do
Yes.
it and
No problem.
put that
So,
on. Yeah.
so some
As I
people
said,
can
just
live
something came
more
across
than.
my mind. So keep going, Beena. Keep going.
No, I was just saying that, okay, some people can live more than anyone else in just one single moment. And like how you can,
Oh yeah.
when you got
Oh yeah.
awareness, oh my God, like tons of things just in one single moment. And I have experienced that. Of
Yeah.
course, my awareness was not like a big, profound concepts or ideas. It was just a self-awareness in that particular moment. Like, okay, when someone asked me that, okay, do you want a brownie? And I was like, okay, yes. And then that was the thing, like how many things just came into my mind, the memories, and I was doing also the things. But in just one moment, my life was completely different on a different time scale.
Yeah. That amazing. That amazing how things work, Beena. Really, really amazing. Yeah. I just love it. Yeah. It's very cool. Very cool. Moreness. Lots of moreness in the world. You know, and the more we start to connect to moreness, of course, there is more moreness. Yeah. I think I got false advertising about the eclipse, or maybe the sun changed its mind, but no eclipse so far yet. So, anyway, they said between 10 and 12, so I guess there's still some time to go. Yeah. Exciting stuff. Exciting stuff. All right, let's read some more, yeah, Beena? Because I do, we don't have a time pressure, but I do want to get through it because I'm editing as we're
Yes,
reading.
yes. But you're
So
not
it,
sharing
it
your
does
screen.
help. I'm going
Please
to
do
share
share
again
so
now.
I can see also.
Oh, oh,
Yes.
oh. Yeah, you want to read, Beena?
No, as much, okay, no matter how much I really want to, but I'm doing other things also.
Okay. All right, no problem. No problem. No problem. No problem at all. No problem. No, I want this to be unbending integrity as a word. Yeah. I love this. I love this. Right. We're on chapter 9 of book 2, capital D, diplomacy. How can I be more diplomatic with others? I love this. This is a big topic. This is a big topic. It's a huge deal, capital D, diplomacy on Nobelia. Right. In the whole bigger story, they are the diplomats of the galaxy because they have this total integrity and honesty and discernment and awareness, and they've developed the skill of capital D diplomacy, which goes beyond regular diplomacy, which we just typically see as being polite, and that's like an excessive politeness kind of. I don't mean in an etiquette sense, but not causing trouble really and avoiding trouble. So, a regular perception of diplomacy has a lot of complications to it, really, right? Some may even equate diplomacy with not being fully honest. Yeah, not necessarily being dishonest, but not being fully honest. But capital diplomacy always, obviously. Yeah, honesty is so intrinsic and so paramount and so important to Nobelia-Living. Yeah, big deal. All right, dear S, most people have many sides. Our key, our responsibility, as I see it, is to interact with others in such a way as to activate their good sides. Okay. You know, this is what I just absolutely love about Biella. She will say things like this. Now, for me, and I read, yeah, and this was always going way back to when I was a youth, right? When I was a boy. When I read and I come across something like this, I stop. This is stuff that stops me, because this is something that is saying, like, wow, when you think about it a bit, this is incredible, right? I mean, what a pronouncement, right? This is, and again, look at the diplomacy too. Our key, says Biella, our responsibility, capital R, as I see it. Now, this stops me. If that as I see it is not there, let's read it without this. Our key, our responsibility is to interact with others in such a way as to activate their good sides. Now I just dismiss this because, oh, just somebody's opinion. That's what you believe it, and you're saying it as if it's a fact in the universe. You have no way of saying this is a fact in the universe, right? How can you tell me what my key is my responsibility? You can't. So therefore I dismiss it. Anybody who's that arrogant, your opinion doesn't count for much. It may have, but I'm not really going to take it seriously, because from experience, when people say things in that way, they haven't really thought them through, and they don't understand humility. They don't understand communication. They don't understand a lot of stuff. So it's like, yeah, all right, I can save myself a lot of time and effort from experience. Of course, they may have a point, but the likelihood of them having a substantiated point is fairly low. But when she says, as I see it, now I want to know more. Why do you think this is so? And the fact that you include that saying
Still,
it,
it's
that
just,
she do feel, go ahead.
there was no sound for me, so I'm not sure that it is for the live
Oh,
also.
let's refresh here and see. See, now this is where the sound comes on. So if you look at this side of the screen here, right, and you see that I have it set up in this way, where I've got, the Facebook window as small as I can make it. I can't drag it any smaller. And I put the slider across so I can see the chat here. But they don't always update in real time. So now, to make sure that I'm not behind, I refresh this thing. I got a button on my mouse for refresh. Very handy. Now it brings this up. Now, to get the chat back again, I have to go away, whoever's chat this is. And now when I click on this to bring the chat back up, now it puts the sound back on.
Okay.
See? So normally I know where to hold with my mouse, but sometimes it puts it down the bottom, and then I click, and I don't always get it immediately, and that's when you hear it. Yeah. It's a little inconsistent sometimes.
No
So
problem.
let's see if Norm was saying something. Normal would say no. What was I saying before that? Oh, about this point of Bella's, that she
Yes.
is saying that in her opinion, she feels it is us, plural, society, is to interact with others in such a way to activate their good sides. Now, this hour is from a point of view, from a new nobility point of view. But still, she is extrapolating this to everybody, because she knows that in context, she's not writing in the galaxy of where Nobelia is in the agglomeration she's taking, to say that she sees as a responsibility, and it's a key point, is to interact with others in such a way as to activate their good sides. This is a very light sentence. It's a huge point. You know, I likely this is probably in my quote file already, but yeah, I, yeah, it doesn't matter if I add it in there more times. You know, it doesn't matter at all. I mean, just what a statement! What a statement of mourns, yes, to say this. Yeah, and it's her responsibility, and she feels this is a responsibility for all of us. I mean, again, she's not saying it is; she's saying she feels it is. It's a very big difference, right? Right. That to interact with others in such a way as to act their good sides. I really hope I do this because this is something, yeah, Biella and I are most ultimately and totally on the same page. Yes, I really try to do this. I live according to this. I interact with others in such a way as to activate the good side. I really try it. And this is not easy. It's very difficult sometimes. Very difficult. But still, that's capital diplomacy. It's why impeccability and integrity are so key. That usually forces others to interact on that level also, as they know any other way is useless. Again, the layeredness of this paragraph, it's like, man, it's so much. I don't have the energy to really unpack it all, so I'll just have to trust that it's perceived in all of that. I always typically elaborate before, and then, well, Biella says the same thing. So, I mean, let's say you had something you wanted me to let me read that again. I mean, let's say you had something you wanted me to participate in that did not have integrity. Would you even ask if you knew integrity was dear to me? For instance, you know, I said to Biella, I said to Beena, hey Beena, you know what? There's this place down the road here, and you know they leave their back open. Come, let's go and help ourselves. I mean, they left it unlocked. If I said that to you, Beena, what would your response be to that?
We're saying this is not going to be. No, sorry, I know that.
Beena just laughs because it's so preposterous. It's so absurd. Exactly that. I mean, but I'm trying to make a hypothetical example, but it's so absurd it can't even be hypothetical.
Exactly.
Because Beena knows there's no possible way I could even think of doing this, right?
Exactly.
But should I can't think of an example. Should I seriously want to engage Beena in something that lacks integrity, never mind criminal? She would say absolutely not. And she would be horrified that I even asked. And if I asked seriously, it would even end our friendship.
Yes.
But it's such an impossibility. Because if I ask seriously, that means that I've abandoned my integrity.
Yes.
See? So this is any possibility, in other words. Now, of course, capital diplomacy is going to say, I must be misunderstanding. I know this is not possible for Syl to do this. And likewise, if Beena can say, no, I must be misunderstanding. Okay. Now, sometimes, you know, there is where there are, and then you would explain why it's unusual, anomalous, whatever. Right? But then it's still with integrity. It's not actually without integrity. But anyway, that gets really complicated sometimes. But that's life. That's complicated sometimes. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that when we live by integrity and impeccability, such things become impossible. And this is what Biella is. We'll see. I mean, say, let's see. Right. So she's making the point about activating good sides in others, to behave in such a others, to interact on that level, as they know any other way is useless, right? On that goodness level. Yes. I think I must put on that goodness level. Right? Because here's the thing, you're creating a climate. You're creating an environment of suggest non-goodness is just not possible. Right? So she treat this whole thing, right? So that usually forces others to interact on that goodness level also, as they know any other way is useless. I mean, let's say you had something you wanted me to participate in that did not have integrity. Would you even ask if you knew integrity was dear to me? No, you wouldn't. To take this to the end, a chief component of capital D diplomacy, the diplomacy of interpersonal relations, is queuing. It's giving a dog a good name in such a way that they will live up to it. It's having only the best of expectations and providing the environment for others to live to that. Yes. I need to put in here. They couldn't. Yeah, I don't have to necessarily go into this more in detail, that even if the person is a criminal, they're going to look bad in that moment there, right? And they don't want to risk their appearance, right? Criminals don't want to be known to be criminal to good people amongst their own. Sure, no problem, but not that. So if you're coming from that point of view, they don't want to give up the game, you know, lose face, etc. Yeah. To take this to its end, a chief component of capital diplomacy, the diplomacy of interpersonal relations. And yeah, it's relations because you are relating. Yes, that's why it's not relationships here. You can say relationships, but it's more that you're relating, and that's why it's a relation. Yeah, right. And that's why sometimes they say, you know, to have physical relations. You see, that's why I say physical relations. Relations is interactions as a group, really the best of expectations, and providing the environment for others to live up to. Also, it's being conveniently unaware when they fail to, or they will sometimes will, as they are entrenched in habits and so often can't help themselves for behaving in self-defeating ways. But we can make a difference, a huge one. And we can create personal interactive microclimates that prompt and stimulate and encourage and suggest to others how to interact with us. And the key here is with us. This particular queuing, make that a capital, yeah, because this is a dictionary of power term here. It's purely about creating our own course with our unflinching integrity, our impeccability, and our unrelenting positivity. Yes, as well as paying attention to implications. It's through implications also we create this environment. It is a very big deal. This is a lot packed in here. This is a big deal. Can you read, Beena? I'm getting a little tired for some strange reason. Must be the eclipse. Let me have some.
Sorry, say it again.
Started struggling there a bit. No, I was just suddenly got a little bit tired there. I probably just need
Okay, no problem.
drink some water, which I didn't have. But I said, "Can you read, Peter?" Suddenly ran out of steam. Oh,
Okay, we can
wow.
stop right
Adam.
also, but I'm keen to at least
No,
read this.
I want to finish the
Yes,
I want to
okay.
finish the chapter. So Adamants, from Adamants. I'll
Adamants.
read it in a bit. Yeah.
No problem. I'm reading right now. Adamance is extremely important. It's one of the key elements of diplomacy. To be adamant appropriately, it's vital when personal line and boundaries. It's vital when expressing personal lines and boundaries. Less so with beliefs. Yes, our beliefs are strong, open to change if there is justification and reason to do so, but it has, oh, it's jumping quite.
One moment, Beena. One moment, interrupt you. One moment,
Okay.
one moment,
No
one
problem.
moment, one moment, one moment, one moment. I just had a thought about my friend Stephanie, and she said she was going to come, and I want to give her, and maybe she'll come, and then Stephanie can read. She said, "Happy eclipse." Okay, she says, "Okay, I'll join. Let me find my headset." Ah, this is perfect. This is perfect. This is perfect. And I like to share my friends. I can't tell you how much joy it gives me to share my friends. You know, like when Norma says hello, Beena, and you say hello, Norma.
Yes.
Ah, there's a deep joy in it for me. Beyond just like the pleasure of people being friendly and polite and loving each other. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. It's just some peculiarity of mine, I guess. But I do so love sharing my friends. And and Stephanie I don't interact as much with Stephanie as I used to. Stephanie's life is busy. People's lives are full. But it's nice every now and then just to touch and connect, and Amber's got a lovely voice, so Stephanie can read for us. She just said she's getting her headset. So this is a long chapter. So continue until Stephanie comes. I don't know how long it'll take her to find her headset. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So we'll continue there. We'll continue until Stephanie comes. Wonderful, wonderful. I hope you're still here, Norma. I hope you're still here, Norma, that you also get to meet Stephanie. But anyway, you'll get to meet her on the on the replay, so it's all good. All right, where were you, Beena? Please continue. Please continue.
Yes, okay. Adamance is extremely important. It's one of the key elements of diplomacy to be adamant appropriately. It's vital when expressing personal lines and boundaries. Less so with beliefs. Yes, our beliefs are strong, open to change if there is justification, reason to do so, but it has to be compelling. Since our beliefs aren't lightly come by in the first place. Okay. On the other hand,
yes, Norma says she's still here. I was going to say slower. Because of what? On the other hand,
on
yes.
the other hand, there has to be a complete lack of adamance when it comes to sharing personal perspective. It has to, at all costs, be avoided when making personal observations of others and of their positions, perspectives, and especially of their motivations. It's, of course, best to avoid any personal references when interacting where diplomacy is required. Oh, wow. It's, of course, best to avoid any.
Wow. So this is really huge here, right?
When interacting where diplomacy is
good.
Yeah, I was just reading it for myself. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, no, that's how I like you to read. When you read for yourself, to understand it for yourself, not just reading the words. That's when we get the maximum. Because when you share and you go over, we get to hear your brain processes, and it's brilliant. It's a great light. It's very, very valuable. Very, very valuable.
This is
Right.
very
I love this
interesting,
point, right?
because what Biella is saying, that when you have to, the situation demands the diplomacy, the Nobelia diplomacy, in any situation where you have to use it. It's coming out of attunement or appropriateness. Then the personal references can be, it's best to avoid any personal references, which is quite tricky, because
Oh, very difficult.
It's many situations, at least I have experienced, like for instance, because this is something we both knew that in some situation when someone is not understanding uh, the the reality or the realness of the situation, or something which is like, okay, they were not being impeccable, but they have no idea. It was lack of awareness. It was not because of bad intent, but it was because of lack of awareness. They are good, honest people, but they were not being impeccable. So they were doing something which, of course, gives them some not so desired consequences. But they are hurt, and because they are honest, good people, and they are in a situation where you cannot just directly say something about them. That okay, oh, you were a bit fool there, or you were stupid, or you were this and that. You cannot do that. So you have to use capital D diplomacy or Nobelia diplomacy there, because otherwise that person will, of course, first they will lose their composure, and for second it is going to shatter their self-trust also. So that's why it is needed. You have to use capital D diplomacy. But even when you are giving like, okay, using or applying capital diplomacy, is still you use words like, oh, it's an awful truth. It's an awful truth, which means by implication that they did something horrible, and now it is coming as like, what do you say? Smack on a face or something like, okay, yes.
Yeah,
So
she gets smacked in the face by the universe. Yeah.
yes. So then these are
Wow.
personal references again. Yeah. And Biella is saying completely different here. She's saying it is best to avoid.
Because now you're looking to be right. Exactly why. The key here is because you want to avoid subjectivity and debates and arguments, which are always
Norma, will you please help me that, okay, am I the only one who is losing Syl's voice often, or it is happening in the live for you also? So please, because Syl,
we
I
hear
didn't
you
hear.
break up a little bit every now and then to be
Okay. So Syl,
okay.
please
Let me
say.
start again. Okay. It's just it's when we overlap that cuts it out. All right. So let's say this again. I was saying that the avoidance of personal perspectives, personal opinions, is because we are looking to avoid subjectivity. We are looking to avoid subjectivity. That's why.
Okay.
Make sense, Beena?
Yes, it does. I'm just trying to make it
If you
more.
think of all arguments, isn't
Yes.
that what arguments are about? Subjectivity. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So when when we shift, well, to be objective is sometimes very difficult. But what we can do is discuss things from the point of view of self-evident sensibility. That's not that hard to do. Yes, especially if you're immersed in Way-of-Impeccability, sharing self-evident sensibilities. And you can make your point via that. That's very diplomatic because it's you're avoiding arguing. And that's really what the issue is with capital diplomacy. But it's more than that. It's also about communicating. So now you found a way to communicate. Capital diplomacy is an art form, not just a skill. So let's read on and see what she says, right? It's of course best to avoid any personal references when interacting with where diplomacy is required. Please keep reading, Dean. Come, Stephanie. Yeah. She can't hear me, of course, but yeah. Please read, dear Beena. Oh, Beena dropped off. That's why, yeah. All right, so I'll keep reading. Shifting focus of the problem requiring diplomacy to its abstract elements, avoids discussing details. Details in stressful personal interactions, even if only one is stressed, are almost always subjective. The stress itself adds subjectivity. Those details can become severely distorted, and that's almost always known by the stressed individual at some level. To be adamant about incorrect details, no matter how much proof is available to support the correction, merely forces defensiveness. And defensiveness is also justification and justifying. And now you're in a mess. Yes. Going to add that in there. Yeah. And this is what diplomacy seeks to avoid. You know, this chapter, I have to really go over it because a lot that can be added to it that, you know, sort of to make the obvious. I think it needs a bit more of that, because like this, and now you're in a mess, and exactly what diplomacy is very obvious to me and to Beena, because we talk about and have gone into capital diplomacy in as much detail and depth as is possible. We study this, we practice this. It's a big deal to us. But, you know, if you're not really into it that much, you might not really sort of have it in the forefront of awareness that the aim of diplomacy is to avoid such messes. Right? And we'll see, capital C consideration. Defensiveness and justification, or justifying, are where distortions come into play. And when people start defending themselves and justifying themselves, things get distorted, and honesty and accuracy goes out the window. When effort is being made to support an inherently indefensible position, and the awful truth comes in, and the awful truth in play does not want to be forced, and indeed cannot. Yeah. So this is when we understand capital diplomacy. Understand people want to save face. They don't want their awful truth exposed. They don't even want it discussed. You get problems, and this is why to do Way-of-Impeccability in the Moreness-Project, honesty and self-honesty is paramount. Otherwise, you end up with these messes, and you end up with this necessity for capital diplomacy. And it's like, oh man, it's just, yeah. To adamantly insist on any contrary truths will only serve to entrench the distortion being made in order to justify. It's the adamance of the stressed person which is problematic, and this is little same as the earlier one was. It's the adamance of the stressed person which is problematic. Thus, the lack of opposing insistence is a huge tool. They cannot push against nothing. Yeah, we have to lead by walking backwards. This is such a profound strategy. You know, I saw this again when I was a kid, when I was a boy. I saw in some marriages, households, the man was just, you know, full of nonsense, silly and classical stuff, weak, you know. He was a knucklehead. And the woman was sensible and sober and sobriety. And she was really the one who ruled the household. However, being caught up in the superiority paradigm, the man had to have, for public appearance, oh, I'm the one who wears the pants, and all of this idiotic superiority paradigm nonsense. Now, the woman, she didn't care about any of that. She just wanted sensibility and the right stuff for the kids and whatever. Everybody knew it, but the woman allowed the man to maintain this appearance of being in charge. And some of them were very skilled at it, when the men were like really deeply entrenched and very narcissistic and all this. They would lead the men by walking backwards. So the man thought, oh, I'm pushing you around. But literally, if you do that, right, have somebody push you around, but you know where you're going, they'll actually keep following you with their finger on your chest. Right? They think they're pushing around, but actually you lead them. Right? You can literally try this as an experiment. It's quite fantastic. Yes. So you decide where you're going. Okay, you're walking backwards, but you have to know where you're doing, and you know your environment, your house. But it's a physical demonstration of what you can do figuratively, right? So those women would let the man give the appearance of being in charge and pushing them around, but actually they were leading them wherever they wanted them to go. It was very skillful. It was very profound and very skillful. And in that culture, which was so deeply entrenched in the superiority paradigm, it was the only way for some woman to have any measure of sensibility about the household. If they went with the husbands, to me, it was amazing always how those women stayed married to these knuckleheads. Like, wow, really. Kind of sad, I thought, but anyhow, here's what it is. Here's what it is. Adams. What do you mean? Oh, okay, never mind. Doesn't know that spelling. Only knows it with a capital. It's the elements of the stressed person which is problematic. Thus, the lack of opposing assistance is a huge tool. They cannot push against nothing. Here we have to lead by walking backward. A powerful tool. If the upset person does not feel they are being pushed and feel they are doing the pushing, they relax. Their adamance is no longer needed. And this is their adamance is little a adamance. My spelling didn't have that in because I usually use it with only a capital A adamance. This leading by walking backwards is achieved with adamance to goodness, to love, to empathy, to compassion, integrity, impeccability, power, understanding. When it's absolutely clear that true understanding is the center, the core, no matter what. And when that's accepted, all involved is imperative. The acceptance of understanding as the goal is imperative. It's imperative. Thus, there has to be adamance in regard to it, and the dialogue can truly begin. No matter how much it strains, if the adamance on understanding is reiterated, and there are constant reminders to the agreement by all participants, this leverage, this leverages their honor and goodness and the promise that's implied by true understanding. Let's see. And let me read that again. No matter how much it stays, if adamance on understanding is reiterated, and there are constant reminders to this agreement, that's what it is, to this agreement by all participants, this leverage standing. What a
Hello? Still can't hear you. It's me. It's my network, not yours. I just... No.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Okay, now I can hear you.
You know, on my phone, I looked and it said this meeting is being recorded and I hit okay, but I think it's just coincidental.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes. So my network is not helping me. Okay. All right. To insist that the underlying intent is always good. This is very important to understand. Leading our next point can make a difference. An adamant, insistent thing here. Right? The glue that binds it all adamants that good intent is the same as our capital D diplomacy. No sound for Mason, so I have to leave.
I guess. Important. Okay. So I'll leave with this tomorrow because there's all to this. It's an important chapter because communications, I think we'll do this tomorrow again. This what you say and what you do, adamant sharing, important. Oh, this is important. Anyway, maybe to my energy is kind of lowish today. Quite interesting, quite unusual. And it's 12 o'clock, and I've seen no evidence of the eclipse whatsoever. None, zero. And we're supposed to have a full eclipse here, if I understand things correctly. That's quite intriguing, unless it's coming later to us. Who knows? All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Norma. Bye-bye, magical, marvelous Norma. See you tomorrow. Well, we'll chat anyway. So, but bye-bye for now. Bye-bye for now. All right. So we'll end meeting.